And then to hear Caleb talk about the most important relationship that I have in the building is between him and Shane Waldron. He said it's between me and my OC, which he's right. And how many times did that short circuit Lovie Smith? Right. How many times did that short circuit Justin Fields, where he wasn't on the same page with the game plan with Nagy and the whole deal with Luke Getsy? And these two dudes seem to be in lockstep. They're part of the quarterback collective. And then word comes out that Caleb's going to organize throwing sessions with some of his teammates in either Florida or California when they're on this, extended vacation. And to hear all of this, it seems like the Bears are trending in a really positive direction.
Some thoughts here from Matt Eberflus, the head coach for the Bears, about Caleb Williams on not getting too much exposure. Listen.
Yeah, there's definitely that. I mean, you look at last year's reps. I mean, CJ, Bryce, Richardson, they all got between 45 and 65 reps into preseason. So you look at those things and look at the past, look at, go deeper than that, go back a few years. So you're always looking at that, gathering the data. And like I said, we're going to do what's best for the Bears.
Let's just put a pin in this conversation before we hear from Caleb Williams, Cap. That, out of everything we heard yesterday, that 18 seconds mattered the most to me. The reason why it mattered the most to me is because we need to nip this in the bud now before we get to the preseason, because you know how you and I and a lot of Bears fans get when it comes to the preseason. He just said there that he's going to do the research, 45 to 65 reps for rookies like Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Now,
and Richardson.
Yeah. Now, we got to find out exactly how many snaps Caleb Williams is going to get because, again, if you're a football player, what do you like to do most? Not stand there on the sidelines, but actually play football to get a feel of the game. No one's asking for Caleb Williams to be out there for a half or for 3 quarters in the preseason. We know these games don't mean anything, but it means something to the room.
He's a rookie. He needs to play.
But it's for everybody, though. It matters because this is new, Cap. My big point is we're going to talk about this now, but as we get close to the preseason, if we get to a situation where, yeah, we saw Caleb in practice and he's doing really well, so we don't need to see him out there in the Hall of Fame game. Okay, well, it's preseason game 2. Well, maybe 10 snaps, that's good enough. Get this preseason 3. You know what? Series is good. If we start getting there, there's going to be a problem.
Correct.
Because, listen, this whole thing got to put these quarterbacks under glass because, they can get hurt. You can get hurt walking down the street. That could very well happen.
That is correct.
I'm just telling you now, there has to be a certain set of plays or quarters for Caleb Williams to get acclimated to the NFL system. You don't want the Bears to be flat as a pancake like they were to start the season this past year. They're like, they're ready to go. You don't have to play the stars that much. And then you look like that against the Packers. It matters that you get a rhythm.
100%. And Justin was already a veteran with the same OC. Now we know how that ended. He needs to play. Tom Brady, I remember him saying, I need to get hit in the preseason. Then my body knows, okay, football's back. He said, Yerk has talked about this a million times. I know I brought it up to you. I'm sure I have. Where Yerk has said, you lose your legs in training camp, and then eventually you get them back, but you got to get in football shape. It's different than being on the treadmill and lifting weights and this, that. He said, it's football shape, kid. And he's right. And that's where we got to get our quarterback, Caleb, in football shape. Here's the speed of the game. Here's the cadence. Here's doing this and doing that. Again, I'm with you. He doesn't need to play 4 quarters of a Hall of Fame game, but he needs to play more than one series during the preseason.
Also agrees if people don't believe us, ask Sean Payton what that's like. Remember, we talked about this last year. He's like, oh, God, he's got those guys out there, Russ out there for more than just a series, like a quarter,
he's like,
quarter and a half.
Your buddy called you. He said he doesn't like what he's seeing. So get back out on the field.
Get back out there.
I'm 34. Now he's 35, Russ.
Russ had the helmet off.
I don't care.
He had the helmet off and is going to put the cap on. Take the cap off. I don't like what I see. Get back out there. Those are second team. I don't care. Get back out there.
Run our offense. Yes.
Because it matters.
That relationship was going nowhere quick.
It matters.
You're correct.
To be able to get a rhythm. there are things that we have to look at as we hear from Caleb Williams. It's about Caleb Williams understanding the NFL system and what the Bears are trying to run. It's Waldron and Caleb in their relationship. It's the offensive line and how they have to come together. It's the wide receivers and who's going to be able to get the football and who will be able to flourish once they do get the football. It's about the tight ends. It's about the running backs. It's about the style of play also, Cap. And we say all these things. I point out 6 things about the Bears offense. But yet we believe this is going to be a playoff team. But all 6 of those things have to work. The running game has to work.
Everything.
Multiple tight ends to be able to have the offensive line work in concert to give Caleb Williams time. For Caleb to be able to, as we brought this point up earlier this week, just the idea that, man, he's got to be able to have autonomy in the huddle, the authority in the huddle to call out plays. Never did that before in college. And to be able to sometimes be under center to catch the football, especially on, in the red zone. So this is all going to be an adjustment for everybody.
Going to take time. I get it, but we don't have a lot of time. Like, I expect Caleb Williams to absolutely have an outstanding season. Albeit he's a rookie, he's not that rookie. He's a very abnormal rookie. That's just a fact. He's not one of the rest. He's not.
Caleb Williams on what he's accomplished in his first month.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I accomplished was, one, building a connection with my teammates and those relationships where they're hanging out, going to Topgolf, playing versus Cole and Brett and them, or also just, hanging out with the rooks and us going to movies or hanging out, going to dinners and things like that. But also, being in here, laughing and joking, being in the locker room, I had from November 18th to April 25th of not been on the team. And so you realize how much you miss it and being in the locker room in those small moments. So making sure we take advantage of that. So I would say that's one of the biggest. And then also just gaining and building more confidence and trust, throughout, the Bears and everybody here, but also, myself within the offense, building that belief, that trust, that confidence and swagger to go out there and play.
He is aces at the press conference.
He's so polished.
Want him to be aces and that polished on the football field.
Agreed.
It's a lot of talk, and it's great. It's great that there's a camaraderie with the team. But what matters to me most is the big W.
But think about last year when Justin had to call the media back to his locker. You remember this?
Sure.
Because he said, I got so many voices in my head. And immediately everyone took it as he's taking a shot at Luke Getsy and the coaching staff. And then he got everyone back and said, I didn't say that. You guys took everything I said out of context. And then I know we've got sound somewhere of Caleb and his relationship with Shane Waldron. Now, they knew each other before they came to the Bears. That helps, for sure. But a relationship between a quarterback and an OC can go sideways when things don't go well, especially in a market like this where you're going to have, if he doesn't play well, we're going to hear from all of you, you should have kept Justin.
Yes.
So he's dealing with all that.
312-332-ESPN, 332-3776 are our phone numbers. So